The medical system in Tarkov can be a complex beast when you first start off. Knowing which items do what and when to use them is something you will slowly learn over time. But a common complaint from many players was the unnecessary need to constantly cancel healing animations when multiple body parts needed to be healed. And to be fair, after years and years of having to do this, even though I do have the muscle memory down to start a heal, cancel it, and then just heal again, it's something we didn't need to be doing. Luckily, it finally seems like BSG agreed, and with patch 0.16, added a feature that now allows players to only have to press the heal button once, and the medkit will simply heal them until they hit their max HP value, or the kit runs out of uses, whichever comes first. In the grand scheme of things, this is a small change compared to things like new guns, equipment, major mechanics, events, or map alterations. But even the smallest of changes can have massive implications on the game if done correctly. Fortunately for the community, it was implemented correctly, if a little weird looking. But today, let's go over the continuous heal mechanic, how it works, why it's so impactful, and why little things like this can be such a nice quality of life improvement for the game as a whole. Continuous healing actually starts turned off by default, which I find kind of funny. I'm trying to think of a scenario where you wouldn't actually want it active, but I'm having a hard time thinking of one. But to start, this is a setting you need to manually activate to get the full benefits from. In the settings under the Game tab, there's a checkbox for continuous healing. Just hit that box and hit save. Now whenever your HP is lost from multiple body parts, or enough from one part that requires multiple uses of a healing kit, all you need to do now is press the heal button once and your PMC will simply keep using the kit. No more canceling with mouse 1, no more worrying about chip damage not being taken care of, all that gone with the press of a single button. Interestingly enough, continuous healing actually has a priority system for which body part it will heal first, and also which status ailments need the most attention. The order goes like this: body parts with a heavy bleed, parts with a light bleed, parts with a fracture, body parts with the least amount of HP, your head, and then your thorax. But you'd think something so trivial would kind of fall on deaf ears. But on the contrary, it's changes like these that make me so happy when they do finally get added. It's something we've complained about for so many years. How many fights could have been won if we just had the ability to heal without stopping? Or how many limbs we could have saved if we could have simply just healed them before they lost all their HP? It lowers the amount of menus and clicks that need to happen to keep yourself alive, and if any system in the game should be streamlined and optimized to the highest degree possible, it's the one that keeps you alive and in the fight. Across the entirety of the changes in this particular patch, it was definitely one of the smaller ones, but don't think that it's not as useful, important, or impactful as the rest of the patch. A lot of the times, changes that just make the game better to play kind of go unsung. They're simply added, mentioned in the patch notes, and you just kind of start using them. You might actively mention something like continuous healing saving your life once or twice initially, but once that novelty wears off, you almost forget it's in the game. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, it goes to show how important changes like these are. When you can unconsciously use them in your day-to-day play, and they just work. That's important too. Having things like this be added and not messed around with afterwards because it wasn't working as intended or it was only implemented 50% of the way. Continuous healing was added into the game, and it works as intended, and you even have the option to either use it or not. It doesn't really get any better than that. Combine that with the scroll healing that was added last year or so, and it makes keeping your PMC or scav topped up in the right places much more manageable in a pinch. Of course, you need to remember to use these mechanics, but if you do, it's remarkable how much of a direct impact they can have on your gameplay. This one mechanic and implementation really does highlight how obtuse and layered Tarkov can be with its menus, both in the main screen and while in raid. I mean, for years, we had to press 2 different buttons to get to the trader menu instead of what it is now, where you just press it once and can browse through each of them. Since the beginning of this game, that's how it used to work. Looting bodies and items is just more menus. It's not a bad thing by any means. Tons of games have you using all types of menus to move items while in game. Whether it's a survival game, battle royale, or extraction shooter, it comes with the territory of these genres. but you don't realize how much time you spend staring at screens with little squares on them until you sit down and think about it for a minute. And in Tarkov's particular case, speaking only for myself, before continuous healing was added, I still found myself opening my menu and dragging healing items to where I wanted them to prioritize. I know I'm not the only one that did this, but I'm curious if people still do it. Either way, we do a lot of menu work in this game, more so whilst in raid doing what you need to do. But a surprising number of that is for the specific purpose of healing. And luckily, that is no longer the case should you opt into this. I'm glad it's an option too. It means if you actually prefer the old method for healing, you could still use it. Or you can at least try the continuous healing to see if you like it. Again, even if the animation does look a little weird, but the more annoying quirk with healing that's been around for I think 2 patches now is the unusual delay where your hands are busy after finishing or even canceling a heal. It doesn't feel as snappy and responsive as it used to. And now that has also bled over into Arena, which for a while didn't have that problem. I can't tell if it was an intentional change or something that got adjusted with the patch, but it's really annoying. Baiting other players with healing is much riskier now because the cancel isn't instantaneous, and I've paid that price because of the fact several times now. Hopefully it's something that not only BSG is aware of, but fixes if they see it as a problem. We don't know if this is how they want it or not, but my fingers are certainly crossed that they don't. Continuous healing is one of those changes that you breathe a sigh of relief knowing it's in the game, you can use it, and don't think about it much more after that. And it's those very changes that can sometimes be the most important. The silent heroes listed on a page of patch notes. It's always appreciated when things the community at large asks for do get added. I mean, better late than never is the appropriate idiom that comes to mind. I'm glad it's in the game, I actively enjoy using it, I think the game is better with it, and I hope the delay after canceling a heal does get fixed. I mean, that's pretty much it. Give it a try if you haven't already. You probably won't go back to the old system once you do. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on continuous healing, small changes like this one being added so late into the game, and be sure to subscribe for more videos about the little things in games that truly do matter, regardless of when they're added. I hope to see you in future ones.